is Focus with Paul W. Smith on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
It's Monday! Yay! See, if we can only get as excited about Monday as we are about Fridays, then we'd have this work thing licked. But you know, I like working. I know I don't get my hands really dirty, and it's not like going into a coal mine or anything like that. This is a different kind of work. It's the work I chose starting at 15. So I knew what I was getting into, and I love it. And I hate missing work. So I know that sounds funny, but I do try to take my vacation time because we are better when we take vacation times and we have a break. But sometimes I go, I have some opportunities and I pass them up. A few years ago, I passed up the opportunity to go to the White House Correspondents dinner. At the time, it was just not on the cards. I had plenty of things on my schedule. I didn't want to miss work. And I do thank John Block of the Block family for inviting me. He actually invited me a couple of times before he threw in the towel and knew I wasn't going. So I appreciate that, John Block, and I hope all is well with you and your brother Alan there in Toledo, Ohio. Everything's good here with Relentless Positive Radio. Hope you had a great weekend, as we did. Mike Parsons, the team. Mike Parsons, Danielle Mason, back from traveling, and Rich Luzinski keeping, speaking of traveling, an eye on our WJR traffic and weather first. You can stream us. You can podcast us, all that at WJR.com. Hope you have the free WJR app. Facebook and YouTube pages are live streaming right now, so you can even watch us. And I've actually had people, I've had people tell me they're watching us online and enjoying the program as they put it on YouTube.
Good.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, they can either see how the magic happens or how the sausage is made. It just depends on which expression you prefer.
Yeah, either way. And our old friend Mel and his lovely wife Lorraine. Mel was my driver at MetroCar for years. And he was one of the guys who reached out and said, enjoying the YouTube show. And I went, YouTube show? What's he talking about? Then I realized what he was talking about. Of course, now I have the famous Lath, or some call him Leo, who as my MetroCar driver. I've got some busy things for him to do coming up in the next few days. And then next week, this time, we'll be on the road. If I'm not miscalculating, we'll be on the road again, this time for the famous Paul W. Smith Classic Pure Michigan Tour.
Yes, I believe you will be at the Grand Hotel this time next Monday.
That's the only one I know off the top of my head, because Sunday we leave for Grand Hotel, and Monday we broadcast from Grand Hotel to kick this thing off, as we have for, I don't know, nearly 30 years. One of the reasons why, when Congressman Tim Walberg called and asked if I wanted to join him in Washington for this very big deal with the King Charles, I said, I get so many things on my schedule, so much time, and I would have had to miss a show, and I've missed enough with vacation and travel and other stuff. I just don't want to miss any shows, and I'm glad it worked out very well, because no one is more excited than Ryan Ermani about the. Now, Ryan is excited about life,
right? But
he's really excited about this trip, and I'm excited for him because he'll have a ball, and he'll explain and share every minute with us, and that's all good news.
He might not come back. He might somehow find his way to being a member of Congress while he's there.
You think? Does he want to be a member of Congress?
That's true.
Yeah, I don't. Although I did look forward to saying once again, Mr. Smith goes to Washington. But you have to weigh that. You weigh that with the reality of everything that goes on.
That almost puts you over the top of going, just because you love a good play on words.
I do, and that would have been great. Okay, so now the elephant in the room, the aforementioned White House Correspondents' dinner. I don't want to say I'm surprised. It's interesting to see the amount of second guessing that has happened already. What I saw, in fact, I was on the phone watching the thing live, And all of a sudden I said on the phone, I said, hey, something's going on at this correspondence dinner. You know, because I saw all the guys in suits running to the front of the room and jumping over table. I said, I got to go. And then I really tuned in and watched and realized there was a threat. And I thought the Secret Service, the uniformed and the non-uniformed and the soldiers and everybody, I thought they did a marvelous job. Now there's going to be the second guessing, say, well, why wasn't the security outside? Why was it inside? Why weren't there guys with machine guns in the stairways? Which, by the way, every time I've been around the old Secret Service, they were in the stairways with their machine guns. I talked about this before. Maybe the Democrats should look in the mirror and say, gee whiz, maybe we ought to get done with this and fund Homeland Security and get rid of the rhetoric, because they're locked in on rhetoric and trouble. All right, so I'm fighting a cold. I'm glad I'm not fighting it on an airplane or in Washington. I can fight it right here and get through all of this. But what were your thoughts on? Were you watching live? I was watching live when this all came down at the White House Correspondents' dinner.
So I wasn't watching live, but I was getting the alerts on my phone, and I said I better flip over to, and I flipped between CNN and Fox just to see what was going on.
Right.
And yeah, it's my first question was the same as everybody else's. How did this guy get so close? Yes, he didn't get into the ballroom, but he was right outside of it. And it sounds like he was able to circumvent a number of layers of security because he was staying in the hotel. He got there the night before, and then he ran down the stairwell.
Yeah.
And then the press conference afterwards, I felt like for a minute it was kind of a unifying moment between President Trump and the press, which I think kind of went away with that 60 Minutes interview yesterday. But at that time, I feel like they were all kind of in the same boat. The assumption was, it turned out to be correct, that the shooter was targeting Trump and the administration. But we didn't know that at the time. No. He could have been targeting Trump. He could have been targeting the journalists. So it was kind of a real moment of unity when they were doing that very glamorous press conference at the White House. And,
first time in all tuxedo.
Yeah.
All in tuxedos.
And look, it seemed like Donald Trump and the reporters were very much, there was almost not an affection, but a mutual understanding.
Well, they had just all gone through something
right,
very nerve-wracking, special, different. And they had renewed respect for the fact that this man, once again, third time, potentially someone's trying to kill him, that he just bounces back up and says, it comes with the job. It's a dangerous job. And here I am. And they all just spent time under tables going, what the hell's going on?
Right. And Donald Trump really seemed like he was at peace with the fact that his job and some decision he makes put him in danger. But he's made peace with that because it's quote unquote what he signed up for. And he's doing what he believes in. And so there were multiple times where he said, look, it's just the way it is. And I'm going to keep doing things the way that I think they should be done.
Well, I got to tell you, I am going to take a stand on this too, because I saw this online. You know how I stumble upon, you're going to tell me how to get to Facebook and all that. And it doesn't matter. But I think Melania Trump is right on with her statement where she said, quote, Jimmy Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepen the political sickness within America. It's time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? And I don't have maybe you have it in front of you, Mike, but his quote, because I saw this online, I wrote, I never respond to these things, but I wrote, not funny. Because he said that Melania was practicing her widow look or something to that effect. Can you find it?
Yeah, I'm reading a transcript here. Look at Melania. So beautiful, Kimmel said. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
You know what? I said this with Howard Stern 30 years ago. There is a line. And Kimmel has crossed that line. And I don't think he deserves that job anymore to make 15, 20 million a year to do this kind of crap. I really don't. Let's see if anyone at ABC has the cojones to make a tough decision. They're making money off the show, and to rein him in and stop this nonsense. For anyone to think that the rhetoric of those so-called late-night comedians and so many Democrats doesn't lead to this, well, they're lying. They're lying to themselves and to us. And I'm not buying it anymore. I'm just not buying it anymore. All right, we've got lots to talk about, including with an expert on the whole situation with the White House Correspondents Center and security. That is Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard, who's up next here in Focus with Paul W. Smith right now on WJR. Well, you know, as the sounds, smells, and warmth of spring have finally arrived, and might I add allergies, here in Michigan, so has the threat of those nasty spring storms. Many of us have gotten caught off guard with power outages that storms can leave behind. Now, my friends at Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical are here to help. Next Generation, Dan Pelko, Crystal Klempert Pelko. There's no company I trust more because I know the family and have for years. I know the company and have for years. And I know none of their people work on commission. This year, be ready for Mother Nature with a reliable standby generator. Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical offers generator installations, maintenance, and repairs. If your generator is not serviced by a certified technician, it will void the manufacturer's warranty. And if you don't receive maintenance after 200 hours of runtime, that can also void your warranty. The technicians at Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical are Generac certified to keep your generator working, with locations in Garden City, Madison Heights, and White Lake. They've been serving Southeast Michigan for over 55 years. Visit familyheating.com, familyheating.com, and schedule your free estimate today. It's easy to remember, familyheating.com. We continue in Focus with Paul W. Smith on WJR.
For many retirees, changes to interest rates could mean your lump sum options will reduce. Choosing between a lump sum and monthly pension options, like all retirement decisions, shouldn't be an emotional decision. It's a math problem. Most people and professionals are doing the wrong math. Hi, I'm Kirk Cassidy, lead instructor for the Retirement Education Foundation, a charitable program, and the co-host of the Retirement Education Hour, heard here Saturday, 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. A complete retirement plan should guide every major decision in order to maximize efficiency. If you want to retire early, spend more, and reduce your anxiety, join us for our near master's level 8-hour retirement education courses, where we have taught tens of thousands of families with assets between $1 to $20 million. To register for a course or watch updated webinars, visit refedu.org. That's refedu.org. Classes are held at major universities in Michigan and Missouri. $29 tuition goes to charity. Courses are sponsored by the Retirement Education Foundation, a charitable program.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon?
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Discover. When you hear a good deal, it's natural to do a double take. That's what you might do when you hear Discover will automatically double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by My Fair Lady at dumbcoasttheaters.com. Experience live theater at Dumb Coast Theaters in St. Clair. Don't miss the beloved musical My Fair Lady, where an elitist professor bets he can transform a spirited girl from London's lower class into a refined lady in 6 months. Get your tickets at dumbcoasttheaters.com. We've got a vehicle fire blocking your two right lanes on the Lodge northbound at 10 Mile. That's causing some stop and go from 9 Mile. Another wreck blocking your right lane on the Lodge southbound after 8 Mile. Police are on the scene there. And some moving roadwork slowing you down on I-94 eastbound between the Lodge and 8 Mile until 2:30 this afternoon. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. A high of 67 for today. We'll have some clouds. Going to be warmer, though. Warmer than last week anyway. Monday, we're also going to have some rain showers tonight along with windy conditions, a low of 59. Chance of rain showers for this evening. And Tuesday, looking pretty good, a high of 64. AM clouds, afternoon sun. I'm Rich Luzinski, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
It's Anthony Bellino from Sports Wrap. Join me and Lomas Brown on Monday as we recap the Lions' 2026 draft, plus the Pistons and Magic in Game 3 of their opening round series of the NBA playoffs. All that and more Monday night at 6, right here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR.
Thanks, AB. We'll look forward to that. Matter of fact, we've got more coming up, too, in sports and information with Nikki Lundberg. Nick Lundberg will be here as we talk about the Pistons and some other great things, maybe a Lions draft recap as well. But right now, it's Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard, who's called upon across the country and around the world for security issues. And though he's not directly involved in what took place at the White House Correspondents' dinner, he is certainly able to offer his opinion on a few things. And Michael, my friend, I feel sorry for the Secret Service and all those involved because they're already being second-guessed and damned if they do, damned if they don't. Have you noticed?
Yeah, that seems to be a popular trend. Everybody that sits at home and watches social media videos of it knows what they would have done different and better.
which is just laughable. It's laughable. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't things that could have been done better. One of the things that could have been done better is the Democrats could get off their butts and put Homeland Security back on the job and give them the funding they deserve. That they hold some responsibility for, the Homeland Security.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think people ought to vote their conscience, but not hold up funding for critical activity. So vote no if you don't want to support the bill, you don't want to support the funding, and let the chips fall where they may. Obviously, Secret Service and other folks who are under that funding, they ought to be paid.
Yeah, they ought to be paid. And I've said it before from my experience from many, many, many years ago, being with the variety of presidents and therefore being with a variety of Secret Service people. I remember much heavier protection in the past. And I don't know if it's because of cuts in funding or staffing or what, but there are questions like, for example, why weren't there Secret Service people in the stairwells? I mean, that was normal. I used to run into them with machine guns in the stairwells because that was a way of egress and a way of ingress. Is that the other word? It was something that was always covered. Why wasn't the security outside, the parameter being larger? There's always room for questions and wondering. What are some of your thoughts? Here's the other one. Why isn't the guy dead? I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I think that this indicates there's something going on here we're not totally talking about yet.
Well, I think there's a couple things going on. So a lot of people are questioning, how does somebody get into a hotel with a weapon where the president should be? Now think about it. There's hotels all across Washington where different cabinet members and even presidents visit different meetings or conventions that are in place. If you had to screen every guest of that hotel, how far back do you go? The day before the event, they get screened? Or do you go back a week or 2 weeks? How long people are staying? Do the rooms get individually scanned and screened? So there's literally almost an assumption of risk if you're going to a hotel, that there are some areas that you don't have eyes into and you don't have complete verification of what's in there. And so then they make a determination of how they secure the inner perimeter, the middle perimeter, and the far perimeter typically. And so what happens in a situation like that is you keep them at all costs from bringing something large like a vehicle into the venue, which they had heavy security outside to do that. And then you make sure your inner perimeter is secured, that no one can breach that. This guy attempted to and was stopped. So that part worked. Are they going to do an after action and say, were all the posts that should have been manned? Did they have the stairwells and the doors typically properly secured? They're going to look into that. But in terms of that outer screening point, that worked as it was supposed to. You don't get past it. And how he wasn't shot doesn't surprise me. I actually took the video, slowed it down. He's running at absolute top speed through police officers. And, the fact that he wasn't hit, if the Secret Service were firing at him, doesn't surprise me. A moving target at that speed in a very confined space. I wouldn't actually be even surprised that the Secret Service that was shot was struck by friendly fire. So I think the inner security did what it was supposed to do, stop them from getting inside the actual ballroom. And, everything else has to obviously be examined. But no one got hurt other than the Secret Service agent that was struck by a round from whoever fired that. And no one inside was hurt. So that's a W. Does it mean you still don't look at things more importantly and after action? 100%. They're going to look at everything as they should.
That's a W. That's a win. You're absolutely right. And you and I don't mind saying it. During this action, you and I were comparing notes, and we both kind of came up with the idea that must have been friendly fire as a very strong possibility. Because if he were blazing guns and shooting at the Secret Service, I think they would have taken him down in a second. So we're going to find out more as time goes on. And 1 o'clock hour or around that time, he will be on television and in court, and we'll see what the story is there. Anything else, Michael?
Yeah, I just think they let the real information come out and play out. They'll do ballistics on the rounds that were fired. They'll do ballistics on the weapons he was carrying. All that will be irrefutable to determine, how many rounds, if any, he fired, how many rounds Secret Service or police fired, if any. All the weapons that were discharged will be tested. So let's just let that take its course and we'll figure that out. But again, the fact of the matter is nobody was seriously hurt with someone who was intent on killing as many people as he could.
Yeah.
When you've got a lone wolf that has the intention and is willing to travel across the country to hurt or kill people, those situations sometimes don't come to the attention, and you have to catch them with the net you have around the event, and that's what happened.
As you said, no matter how you look at it, this was a W. This was a win for the incredible Secret Service, even though the Democrats have kept their hands tied behind their back and won't give the money to Homeland Security that it deserves and needs. And the Democrats better start looking in mirrors because of their rhetoric and their withholding of the money that these guys need to do their job the best they can. Appreciate you, as always, Michael, and we'll talk again soon, I hope under better circumstances.
Indeed, my friend. You have a great day.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard on WJR at 12:30. Well, I'll tell you, with the weather warming up, it is time to start thinking about home improvement projects. And, well, the most important yet overlooked spring home improvement project is getting your roof inspected to make sure it's still keeping the water outside of your home. That's very important for the spring because, you know, that freeze-thaw cycle of the winter can cause our shingles on our roof to become brittle and to develop tiny micro cracks in them. I want you to call Victor's Home Solutions today before the spring rush hits and schedule a free 21-point roof inspection. They're going to go over every square inch of your roof and make sure there is nowhere water can get in. This also allows you to catch minor problems early and fix them with an inexpensive repair. Repairing water damage from a leaky roof is far more expensive than keeping your roof maintained and making minor repairs along the way. If it is time for a new roof, Victor's has you covered. Prompt follow-up, on-time appointments, clear communication, perfect installation the first time. They also offer an industry-leading 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. So call today before the spring rains get into your home. It's 1-866-VICTORS or online at victors.com. That's 1-866-VICTORS or online at victors.com. From my own personal experience, I'm telling you, you'll be glad you called Victor's Home Solutions. 12:31 at 760 WJR.
Here's Ryan Goldberg, President and CEO of DFCU Financial.
At DFCU, our credit union is all about our members and the community. We're not just focused on numbers and metrics, but we are focused on doing the right thing for our communities. That's why we pay back earnings to our members through a very popular cashback program.
How about small business owners? How do they benefit from being with DFCU?
Our business and commercial banking teams bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise to benefit you. By understanding your unique financial needs, our team can deliver tailored lending solutions, deposit, and treasury management. Working with DFCU means you'll have access to decision makers and benefit from speed to market. We're in a strong liquidity position, and that means we have money to lend and the willingness to lend it. Business lenders often have a box that customers must fit into. We don't work that way.
Some restrictions apply. Visit dfcufinancial.com for details. DFCU Financial is an equal housing lender, federally insured by NCUA.
For more than 35 years, MetroCars has set the standard for professional transportation across Michigan and beyond. MetroCars is proud to serve as the official transportation provider of 760 WJR. Executives and business travelers trust MetroCars for dependable airport transportation and seamless corporate travel. From early morning departures to late night arrivals, their professional chauffeurs ensure every ride is punctual, comfortable, and stress-free. Choose MetroCars. MetroCars.com.
Hey there, JR listeners. Chris Alberta from Principium. Look, I have an urgent message for you today about your retirement. I don't care if you already retired, you're a few months away, or you're a few years away. You're going to be unemployed soon. And you probably don't have a pension because you are your pension. Recent all-time highs in the market. Look, you're at the top of the mountain. And now we're in an Iranian conflict. AI might replace your job. And like it or not, you could be retired as long as you were working. But despite all that, it's the best time I have ever seen in my career to build you a retirement plan. The fixed rates are unbelievably good. Income models are killing it. You combine that with top-notch market management and you're going to win. If you wait, you will lose. These rates will go down. You remember the 4% rule? My clients are using the 7% rule. They'll always have a paycheck, and that's freedom. Don't wait. Call me now, 888-800-8949. Call me, Chris Alberta, 888-800-8949.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Catch up with Dave Llewellyn on his podcast, now available on WJR.com.
The Hall of Famer, Alan Trammell, joining us today on the Dave Llewellyn podcast. Kevin McGonigal, who has had a fantastic start to his career, 21 years old. Now, you came to the majors at the age of 20, as I remember. He's 21, already making an impact. Your early impressions at the big league level of Kevin McGonigal.
Well, he's been fantastic, and he's wired a little bit different, where he's a little more mature, and when he comes to play, he's bringing it every single day.
The Dave Llewellyn Podcast. Go to WJR.com/Llewellyn. That's WJR.com/LEW Llewellyn.
You're hearing Focus with Paul W. Smith on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
As you might guess, lots of conversation is going to continue to happen from the White House Correspondents' dinner. And Michael Bullotta of Bullotta Law, federal criminal defense attorney, is a former federal prosecutor, and we wanted him to weigh in on this as well as the shooter, whose name I don't use because I rarely give these guys any kind of name credit in case that's what they're looking for, should be arraigned today, this afternoon. We've been hearing around 1 o'clock, then we heard a little later than that, in federal district court on the charges of using a firearm during a crime of violence and assault on a federal officer using a dangerous weapon. They could also talk terrorism, and they could add more charges about going after the president or the cabinet or whatever. Michael Bullotta, some of your thoughts on this, which is why we call upon you.
Thanks for having me, Paul. Let's call him what he calls himself, which is the friendly federal assassin. That's what he says he is in his manifesto. But I don't think the agents who were being shot at the security checkpoint thought he was very friendly. So what's going to happen today is he's going to go in front of a federal magistrate judge and in D.C., and he's going to be arraigned on his two charges, which is assault, as you correctly identified them. The more serious of the two charges is the discharging a firearm during the course of a violent crime. That carries a mandatory 10 years in federal prison and a maximum of life. But you're right to say that these are just the opening charges, Paul, and there are likely to be additional charges. One that I can think of, especially now that they have this manifesto where it's clear what his intent was, would be attempted assassination of either the president or a member of the administration, a high-ranking member, which carries a maximum of life also. So in the federal system, we don't have parole, as your listeners may know. So a life sentence means just that. A life sentence.
Which, by the way, that's what it should mean anytime someone's given a life sentence, but don't get me started. So anyway,
okay.
the whole idea here is not that a lawyer won't try it, because that's what lawyers are supposed to do, but I can't see an insanity plea working at all. There's too much planning. There's too much time that has gone by. The only thing he's got going for him is to say he was planning this long before anyone knew for sure that the president was even going to attend this dinner. I don't know if that'll save him from trying to assassinate the president or what.
Yeah, I mean, his best bet legally is probably to focus on the fact that no one did get seriously injured or killed, and maybe rely on his mental health if that's an issue. The problem, though, there too, as you pointed out, he's not going to get not guilty by reason of insanity defense because his manifesto, it reads purely logical. I mean, if you read it, he's basically saying, I'm not trying to hurt innocent people. I'm just trying to hurt, and kill these Trump administration folks because they deserve it. And I'm doing this, after thinking about it and planning it and getting a train ticket to go from Los Angeles to Chicago to DC. So, I mean, there's plenty of premeditation, plenty of planning, plenty of what we call a substantial step, which is necessary to prove an attempt of any crime. So he could easily be convicted on a whole host of crimes. And I don't see a real defense for him.
I'm still holding back on whether he really discharged a weapon, because to me, it seems to me, with all of the police officers and Secret Service that were right there right then, if this guy had guns a-blazing, I think he would have been brought down quickly. I think he would have been shot 15 times. And so the fact that they tackled him and he didn't have any bullet holes in himself seems a little unusual to me. And the fact that there could have actually been friendly fire that was involved with the agent that, thank God, had his vest on, and the vest stopped a bullet.
Sure. There's lots of ways to test and prove that he fired. I haven't seen any video. I don't know if you have anywhere.
I saw only the video the president released showing this guy running like a bat out of hell past the security line.
Yeah, I saw that, but I mean, I never saw any video of any shooting or any.
Me neither. Or them tackling him.
But they can still prove whether or not the gun was fired by examining the gun and also examining his hands for gunshot residue. Lots of ways. So they'll be able to dispositively show that either way. But and that is an important charge. But even the attempted assassination can get him life if they can prove that he was trying to kill Trump or somebody like that.
He should at least get life, and just for what he did, and that what we know that he did. And the other part is he's not apparently a stupid guy. He's a rather smart guy, and that makes it even worse. And that just indicates how bad our society is right now. And I hope the Democrats take a good look at themselves and their rhetoric and the way they've said the things they've been saying, and the fact that they don't fund fully the Homeland Security. They should start looking in the mirror and realizing they have some responsibility here.
I think both sides have tremendous responsibility, both the Democrats and the Republicans, to not.
Oh, with the rhetoric, absolutely.
Yeah, with the rhetoric, and we see that with, Melania Trump's, calling out Jimmy Kimmel, and then,
Well, wait a minute. That's not the same. To me, that's not rhetoric. To me, that's an impassioned plea from a woman who was used for what he thinks is comedy, and it's not funny.
Yeah, but to me, a comedian is a little bit different than someone who's an elected official. To me, what Trump does on a daily basis is so much disharmony in this country that he himself is the head generator of a lot of the vitriol on both sides. So I think we have a president that loves it and uses it to stay in power, and we have comedians and certainly people that make fun of him. But we have Democrats on the other side too that take it too far with their rhetoric. I think both sides, quite frankly, are feeding into this, and we need someone from either party that can unite our country, not divide it continually, which is what we have right now.
We need a détente. We need a ceasefire on both sides.
Agreed.
But it's funny when you said the comedians and elected officials. I thought you meant that many elected officials act like comedians today anyway.
Well, again, you could lay a lot of that, I think, at the feet of the top person at the top, because they set the stage. And when you have a president that's tweeting, those crazy, B words or doing this and that, I mean, it takes our entire political system down to the lowest common denominator. And I think that's a problem that's ongoing as well.
Hard to argue. You're absolutely correct on that. But back to Jimmy Kimmel, to say that Melania Trump is practicing her widow face or something like that. I mean, that's just not funny.
I agree that it's not funny, but I also think that it's ironic that of all people, she's calling this out, where when she's married to someone who many believe is the root cause of a lot of this. So that's all the only reason that I brought up Melania Trump.
Okay.
Because I think that there's responsibility on both sides.
Michael Bulata of Bulata Law, federal criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, weighing in like so many of us are on the White House Correspondents' dinner and the shooter, who was prevented from hurting anyone by the fine work of the police and Secret Service and all law enforcement personnel. It was quite fascinating to watch the whole thing unfolding, that's for sure, and frightening. We continue in focus on WJR. This is to take care of yourself and your family. This is important to note because no matter how you look at it, probate is bad. Probate is slow, probate is expensive, probate is completely public. But the good news is you can avoid probate entirely with a revocable living trust. And yes, you do need a living trust. That's only for rich people. No, it's for any of us who worked our fannies off to get anything. A revocable living trust. It keeps you in control of the who, the what, and the when. Who receives your assets, what assets they receive, and when they receive them. And when your assets are properly owned by or payable to the trust, you bypass probate and protect your family from the delays and costs that come with it. At Estate Planning Legal Services, their attorneys walk you through every step. They'll help retitle your assets at no charge. And if you need any changes in the future, they're free for life. With more than 25 years serving Metro Detroit families, they know how to make the process clear, affordable, stress-free. Get the peace of mind you deserve. Contact Estate Planning Legal Services today for your free consultation and learn how a revocable living trust can work for you. Call them at 248-435-0400. That's 248-435-0400. Or go to EPLSPC.com. Now, that's a mouthful. EPLSPC.com. That stands for Estate Planning Legal Services PC.com. EPLSPC.com. Or call them at 248-435-0400, just as I will, as we continue in focus on WJR.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With Smart Business Buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Pro-Life Across America.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by My Fair Lady at thumbcoasttheaters.com. Experience live theater at Thumb Coast Theaters in St. Clair. Don't miss the beloved musical My Fair Lady, where an elitist Professor Betsy can transform a spirited girl from London's lower class into a refined lady in 6 months. Get your tickets at thumbcoasttheaters.com. We've got a police presence on 12 Mile Road at Drake Road, causing some delays. Steer clear of an accident slowing you down on I-275 southbound at 8 Mile. That's blocking your right shoulder. Looks like we also have some road work on the Jeffries westbound between Levan and I-275 and on US 23 southbound between Ida West Road and US 223. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Partly cloudy skies with a high of 67. Rain showers for tonight will drop down to 59. Morning clouds Tuesday, afternoon sun with a high of 64. Right now it's sunny and 63 degrees. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
All righty. Marie Osborne, who is our WJR Director of Community Affairs and News, checking in, kind of excited about King Charles arriving in Washington, D.C. It'll be a 4-day state visit marking America's 250th anniversary. The visit includes White House ceremonies, a state dinner, and a rare address to a joint meeting of Congress, only the second ever by a British monarch. You know, it occurs to me, in a sense, Marie, he's celebrating when we broke away from him, his country, his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Right. The big breakup. That's what we're saying. I think they're over it.
Well, they should be by now, 250 years. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, they're waiting any minute here for the arrival of King Charles and Queen Camilla. So, of course, this trip comes just days after that shooting at the White House Correspondents' dinner, and that has heightened security concerns. But Buckingham Palace said the trip would still go ahead as planned following discussions between British and U.S. authorities. Now, this visit is sort of designed to smooth out some of the tensions between the U.S. and Britain. A few months ago, President Trump praised ties with Britain as, quote, two notes in one chord. That was during his second state visit to England. But since then, the tone has soured a little bit. The president publicly criticizing the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, calling him a loser. So though the monarch still has to stay above politics, you know, the king stays out of politics, British officials hope that his personal diplomacy can help ease some of these tensions, especially amid these disagreements, these very public disagreements over President Trump and the war with Iran. The trip also marks a very high-stake diplomatic test for the White House, which is set to offer the full pomp and circumstance of any official state visit. The president personally taking an expanded role in planning for Tuesday's events in the evening, according to some sources that are familiar with the matter. That is for the state dinner that's going to happen on Tuesday night. And I was able to uncover this little nugget. You know, they go over these details for these dinners with a fine-tooth comb. Everything has to be perfect. Darren McGrady is a personal chef to the late Queen Elizabeth II, as well as other royals. And he told Fox that King Charles is not a great lover of chocolate, but the Queen loves chocolate. So anything chocolate would be good for the Queen. Huh. Also, if there's a cheese course, the King would, quote, adore that. He loves cheese.
You know, I'm going to tell you, as a kid growing up in Monroe, Michigan, when I used to hear of these state dinners, I didn't hear it clearly. And I thought they were steak dinners. And because growing up in Monroe, that would have been a big deal for us.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have steak a lot. So I always thought, well, those guys in Washington, boy, they have these big steak dinners. It was later that I found out they were state dinners. And it'll be interesting to see what's on the menu because generally speaking, I think we will try to show them America's best in the food that's being served. Do you think that's still the case?
Yep. They said, according to sources, the state dinner, which both Mrs. Trump and President Trump have worked on, that the state dinner will feature a menu that's American right down to the core, they say. But I also add this. There will be no red sauces because they're sloppy, no curries or garlic for the obvious reasons.
And no McDonald's quarter pounders with cheese, no matter how much the president wanted.
President would like that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The BBC saying, what's the worst that could happen? And King's high-stakes visit with Trump will be the toughest test yet of his reign. I wonder why they say that. He cannot magically correct the clash between our president and their prime minister. And as you pointed out very well, Marie Osborne, this guy, the king, is supposed to stay above all of that. He doesn't get down into the mud.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The king and queen, whoever it might be for Britain, is supposed to be a representative of the people. All people, doesn't matter their politics, so they stay out of politics. I think what maybe the BBC is getting at there is that this visit's really going to rely a lot on King Charles' personal charm and the charm of Queen Camilla, and maybe that might. They haven't really displayed a lot of that, I guess, in public. So maybe that's going to be part of the difficulty here.
They say the king and the queen hope to present Americans with a refined image, quote, a royal family dedicated to literacy, the environment, animals, business opportunities for British companies, and support for young people. In fact, to support literacy, the Queen is going to celebrate Winnie the Pooh's 100th birthday at the New York Public Library.
Right. And tomorrow there are events while King Charles is doing this address. There are events planned with Mrs. Trump and the Queen that revolve around literacy. And then after all of that is done, they are going to travel to New York to visit the 9/11 memorial as well.
And security now, security was always going to be very tight and very tough. Now it's going to be tighter and tougher, which our friend who will be there representing all of us in WJR, Ryan Ermani, thanks to Congressman Tim Walberg offering the invitation, he'll be able to tell us all about the security and everything else at that incredible joint
session.
What I want to say, joint session of Congress. And only one other king has done this in all of these 250 years. So that in itself is a big deal. But can you imagine the security now?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially after what has happened.
That's
Although,
what I mean.
And I heard you talking earlier too, there are some questions that were raised about the event on Saturday. So let's hope that some of these precautions that, are a little tighter maybe than they were before for this. And, you know that they will be.
Yeah, just when you think it can't get any tighter, it gets tighter. That's just the way it is. But we hope that it all goes, we've got two very controversial people. The king has his hands full with the monarchy and the people loving the monarchy. They're split there.
Yeah.
In England. And of course, our president is facing a split group of Americans. So what could possibly go wrong was what they were saying in Great Britain, and they were saying it tongue in cheek. That's a little British humor. What could possibly go wrong? We don't want to find out. Marie Osborne, WJR's Director of Community Affairs and News. Thanks for the update. We appreciate it. We continue. Hour number 2 in Focus is coming up next. We are glad you're with us and maybe getting live streaming on Facebook and YouTube pages. Stay with us here on WJR.
Hi, friends. Bill Golling here. And all year long, we're celebrating 60 years at Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. This month, Chrysler employees with loyalty can lease a 2026 Ram 1500 Big Car and Crew Cab 4x4 for only $269 a month. Leases for 27 months, 10,000 miles a year with $2,000 down, with only tax title plates being extra. All Rams also come with the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. That's Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, Roseville, or our newest location on Mac in Detroit, or always at Golling.com.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years.
I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Rocket Mortgage makes it easy to tap your home's equity when the time is right, so you can fund what matters most. It's your home equity. Put it to work at rocketmortgage.com.
Make your weekend great with the Great Michigan Weekend. Jim Harper and Cam Carmen, Saturday mornings 8 to 10. Stream 760 WJR live on the WJR app or at WJR.com. This is the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, Detroit, a Cumulus media station.
Renewed calls to cool the rhetoric. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, after a man opened fire outside the White House Correspondents' dinner Saturday night.
In reported writings to his family, the suspect in the shooting expressed deep anger at politicians in the Trump administration. Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News,
"We've got to unify and we've got to handle these things together and recognize we're facing, real threats out there. It's a dangerous time."
But Florida Senator Rick Scott was more pointed after a left-wing podcaster promoted violence against him in particular.
They want Republicans murdered all across this country, capitalists murdered. This has got to change. Democrats are going to have to start acting like individuals that want safety for all Americans.
Speaker Johnson said House Oversight will review Secret Service actions the night of the shooting.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, that's in addition to the multiple federal agencies investigating. The suspect, a California teacher with an engineering degree, is due for an initial court appearance this afternoon. A new offer from Iran after possible talks with the U.S. were called off over the weekend. Fox's Trey Yingst speaking with Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the State Department earlier today.
The president decided not to send special envoys Kushner and Witkoff to Islamabad, Pakistan, over questions about how serious the Iranians were about making a good faith deal. I asked the secretary about the Strait of Hormuz and reports that indicate the Iranians are willing to open it.
If what they mean by opening the straits is, yes, the straits are open as long as you coordinate with Iran, get our permission, or we'll blow you up and you pay us, that's not opening the straits. Those are international waterways.
The secretary spoke about how the Iranians are actually willing to speak at this point, given the pressure that was applied on the regime, not just economically with the U.S. blockade against Iranian ports, but also the firepower during Operation Epic Fury.
Iran reportedly wants a delay in discussions about its nuclear program as part of the new offer. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey there, JR listeners. Chris Alberta from Principium. Look, I have an urgent message for you today about your retirement. I don't care if you already retired, you're a few months away, or you're a few years away. You're going to be unemployed soon. And you probably don't have a pension because you are your pension. Recent all-time highs in the market. Look, you're at the top of the mountain. And now we're in an Iranian conflict. AI might replace your job. And like it or not, you could be retired as long as you were working. But despite all that, it's the best time I have ever seen in my career to build you a retirement plan. The fixed rates are unbelievably good. Income models are killing it. You combine that with top-notch market management, and you're going to win. If you wait, you will lose. These rates will go down. You remember the 4% rule? My clients are using the 7% rule. They'll always have a paycheck, and that's freedom. Don't wait. Call me now, 888-800-8949. Call me, Chris Alberta, 888-800-8949.
You know what Michigan homeowners are thinking right now?
Is my house ready for spray?
Exactly. Check siding for winter damage and look for peeling paint or cracks.
And make sure grading slopes away from your home. Spring rains plus poor drainage equals wet basements.
For the area's most trusted contractors to help you with your next home project, visit guys at the InsideOutsideGuys.com. That's InsideOutsideGuys.com.
weathersealhomeimprove.com. Sponsored by Weather Seal Home Improvements.
What if your tax refund could turn into an even bigger return this year? It can when you invest in new siding or gutters from Weather Seal Home Improvements. For over 37 years, Southeast Michigan homeowners have trusted Weather Seal, the area's premier exterior remodel, using the best materials for beauty, protection, and long-term value. This year, put your tax refund toward new siding, gutters, or even a roof with Weather Seal and get an extra 10% off. That's a smart return. Book your free estimate today at weathersealhomeimprovements.net. That's weathersealhomeimprovements.net.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
You're hearing Focus with Paul W. Smith on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Welcome into hour 2 with the team. Mike Parsons, executive producer, Danielle Mason running the controls, queen of the switches, Rich Luzinski keeping an eye on our WJR traffic and weather first with our relentless positive radio pledge to you as you're on your way to making each and every day count, because you know each day is a gift. We just need to be reminded. And don't get me started on QTR, quality time remaining. We don't know how much we have. I want to thank you for choosing to be an important part of the best and brightest audience in all of radio as well. And I love hearing from you in different ways. Here's a note from Gary Corbin, a regular longtime listener. This assassination attempt is more justification and reason for the quick completion of the new ballroom at the White House. We need a proper venue for events like this that can be completely controlled by the Secret Service and not have to rely on local law enforcement. All current and future presidents, cabinet members should be in 100% support of the construction of this new ballroom. Democrats should also support the ballroom, as it may be their future leaders who risk their lives at events like these. You know, another point that he makes here, the Secret Service should prohibit our president and vice president and key cabinet members from attending any events like this one held in a public venue. I mean, that's true. I mean, if that room blew up, man, I can't even tell you who the president would be. They named him, but I don't even know who it was.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what? There's supposed to be one designated survivor that's not there in case something tragic happens to run the country.
Corporations even know better than to put all of their leaders in the same place at the same time. And our government should protect us from terrorists attacking multiple people in our key leadership positions, Gary Corbin went on to say, and I agree with him. It was a little shocking to see how many people were there of importance and how easy it would be to take them out, for God's sake. So
yeah, even Mike Johnson, who I guess would have been Speaker of the House, if the president or vice president isn't available, it goes to Speaker of the House. He was even there. So, yeah, I don't know who
they named a guy that I can't tell you what his name was.
Right. So, obviously we know most of the players. So if it was someone that we've heard of, then we would have remembered. But, yeah, that'd be a long line of succession if the worst happened.
I don't like this story. It's very self-serving for us. Experts say more mosquitoes in Michigan expected this spring. Come on.
Yeah, it's because we've been having a
tons
string.
of rain.
Yeah, tons of rain. I don't know if this was considered a warm winter, but the winters before were considered warm. So yeah, you gotta. Also, I hear tick bites are up too.
Oh,
so
geez. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Wear your bug spray, people.
Mosquitoes breeding in standing water. Get rid of the standing water around your house if you can do that because of the increased humidity. All that. I don't know if what I have right now is an allergy or a cold. Hard to say.
It's that time of year when you don't know.
You can't tell. Whatever it is, it's just a pain in the everything.
Yeah, pain in the nose. You know what's been bad at my house, Paul, have been the ants. We've been playing whack-a-mole with Raid and all the ants that have been out and about and trying to get inside.
Yeah, that's a problem. And they want to come inside now. Now's the time they want to come inside. I see that Carolyn Levitt is doing a press conference. I don't know what she's talking about in this hour, supposedly, the stupid
The attempted
suspect
shooter, yeah.
Yeah, the suspected shooter, whoever he is, idiot, is supposed to be going in front of the judge, but I don't know. But if it does, we'll bring you, if there's something to be reported, we'll bring it to you live, so you won't miss out. And by the way, as I'm looking at Caroline Leavitt, who I think does a great job, people dislike her if they dislike the president, but I think she's great. Guess who is going to give press briefings while Caroline Leavitt takes maternity leave? This was a bit shocking to me.
Yeah, the boss himself.
The president will be giving the press briefings.
And you know what, Paul? TMZ is in the press briefing room just in time for President Trump to take over.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, so how much time does she have off for her leave?
I don't know what I thought
maternity leave.
I thought she was off already. I think maternity leave is usually 3 months?
Yeah. Well,
3 months, I think.
Be prepared for the president to do 3 of those press briefings, and they'll all run together and last 3 months.
Right. When he's wrapping one up, the next one will be scheduled to start, so he'll just keep going.
He'll just keep going. God bless him. Let's see, what else do we have here? The guy wrote anti-Christian manifesto, was a sick guy. I don't need that. The timeline, what's that mentalist, Oz? Or is it Oz or Oz?
It's not Dr. Oz, but he's Oz the mentalist.
So he was showing some of his tricks to the president and first lady when she looked up, and you could see the look on her face that something bad was happening. And all of a sudden, Secret Service men were swarming the area. It was really something to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was fascinating to watch.
It seemed to register with Melania first before everyone else.
Well, I think she has thought of these issues a number of times because she's had to face her husband up until that moment, having 2 assassination attempts, now 3. And she's a very bright lady and was on top of that, and they got them out of there. They were saying that I thought he fell when they were taking him out, but he said they told him to get down on the floor. But it seems to me they were getting him out of there when all of a sudden he went down unexpectedly, came back up again. We'll never know.
I didn't see that. I saw there were like 2 or 3 people who were still left at the head table after they rushed everyone out. I'd be what the heck, guys? I mean, I know I'm not part of the administration, but everyone else got rushed off, and there were still 1 or 2 people left sitting there.
Well, what's fascinating is you also see that the Secret Service has a very specific job, and that's to protect the president, the first lady, and the vice president. And if you're up there with them, you feel like chopped liver because they ignore you to get everybody else out. And the woman who did a fine job in the beginning, who was the chairman this year, who's CBS, NBC, ABC reporter. I can't think of her name. She did a great job, but you see her trying to get out and finally ending up crawling out behind the scrum of Secret Service protecting the president.
Yeah, Weijia Zhang. She works for CBS.
Well, she does a great job, and she did a great job in that area, and the president told her so.
You saw RFK. He got ushered out, and his wife, Cheryl Hines, was behind him in the Secret Service because Secret Service's job was to usher out RFK and nobody else.
Right. That's just the hard, cold reality. They have a job to do, and they're going to do their job. And it's very, very specific. I also read somewhere, some guy stayed, everybody's diving under their tables, and one guy stayed at the table and just kept eating his salad.
It was mashed potatoes, I think.
I want to know who that was.
I know. Well, and it was a little while after the room was cleared, but you know what?
I thought it was right at the time.
Yeah. I think the screenshot on the TV said like 9:00. You know what? Good for him. We needed a little moment of levity at that time.
Yes, we did. God knows we could use some levity. All right. Coming up, the one and only Nick Lundberg, our WJR digital sports reporter, as the Pistons head into Game 4 of the first round of the NBA playoffs, down 2-1 to the Orlando Magic. And maybe he'll weigh in a little, too, on the Lions draft, maybe a little recap. As we continue in Focus with Paul W. Smith right here on WJR. Stream us, podcast us at WJR.com. Get the free WJR app. Watch us on Facebook and YouTube pages, live streaming right now as we continue. I was looking at the cover of Crane's Detroit Business. I love that magazine. It's a must-have for everybody. Crane's Detroit Business. And I see Made in the Shade. And I go, my friend Mike Fallahy has an ad on the front page of Crane's Detroit Business. No, it's a story they're doing about Made in the Shade. And that's, of course, what you've got if you call Mike Fallahy. I've known him for a long time. He's a good friend. His family's been running Marygrove in Detroit for over 90 years and providing shade. Made in the Shade. 90 years. That means they were building shade in this town before most companies even existed. And they still do it the Detroit way. Strong, precise, built to last. Marygrove only makes motorized awnings. No crank handles, no gimmicks. You hit the remote, instant shade. Rain coming in, adjust the pitch. Sun goes down, built-in LED lights. Wind kicks up, add the sensor, it rolls in automatically. Premium framing, fully enclosed housing to protect the fabric, backed by a 10-year warranty. And here's what really separates them. Marygrove can often complete the entire process in as little as 48 hours. That's not 6 weeks. That's not we'll get back to you. That's this week. No third-party installers, no dealer games. Real Marygrove employees start to finish. If you're going to put something on your home, make it something built by a Detroit company that's been doing it right for over 90 years. They've done so much work at my house, and I am thrilled with the work they do and the workers that come here, all Marygrove employees. Go to marygrove.com, or call 1-800-44-AWNING, 1-800-44-AWNING. You schedule your free in-home appointment and tell them I sent you. Tell them Paul W. sent you to Marygrove. Detroit tough, 90 years strong. Marygrove, 1-800-44-AWNING. We continue in Focus at 1:16 on WJR.
ITC, the nation's largest independent electricity transmission company, based right here in Michigan, is working every day across the state to modernize the grid. Learn more at itc-holdings.com.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Many people seem to be incubating a rage looking for somewhere to go. Are there times when you think the country's out of control? You see all these things and you wonder, what in the world is going on? It wasn't this way 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Do we have the will or not? But we are Americans, and I believe we absolutely do have the will. I do this show for you. And when you're not interested in it anymore, I will just go away.
The Mike Levin Show.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster.com. If you've priced custom blinds at a retail store, you know how expensive they can be. At Blindster, we do things differently. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big on custom blinds. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by Paramount Roofing. A new roof doesn't have to wait. With Paramount Roofing, pay no money down and enjoy 5 years at 0% interest. Get your instant free roof quote now at weareroofing.com. Built to last, backed for life. For homes and businesses alike, Paramount Roofing. Roofing made easy. That disabled vehicle on I-275 southbound at 8 Mile is cleared. Still have some slowdowns on I-94 eastbound between State Street and US 23, and moving road work blocking your left lane on I-94 eastbound between the Lodge and 8 Mile. That's until 2:30 this afternoon. You're slow from West Grand Boulevard there. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Partly cloudy skies today, high of 67. Rain showers for tonight. We'll drop down to 59. Morning clouds for Tuesday. Afternoon sun with a high of 64. Right now it's sunny and 63 degrees. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Coming up Monday on JR Afternoon, high-stakes diplomacy back at the table. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner in Pakistan to restart peace talks with Iran. Can this fragile ceasefire hold? We'll break down what's at stake and what happens next. 760 WJR.
All righty, take our minds off what's going on. I do note that both CNN and Fox are carrying Caroline Leavitt and her press conference. And soon the suspect for the WHCA dinner will be in court. Don't know exactly when. We'll try to carry it if it's worth carrying at the time. What we want to take our minds off all of that now and go to something not nearly as important, but certainly more enjoyable than the news we've had to talk about. And we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs and the Lions draft, and no one better than our WJR digital sports reporter, Nick Lundberg. Hello, Nicky.
Great to be back, Paul.
Always great to have you with us. Pistons once again facing an uphill battle.
Yeah, I was at game 2, the first Pistons home playoff game in 18 years. And it seemed like they had kind of turned a corner. They had a rough game 1 showing. Orlando kind of controlled it. And in game 3, it was more similar to what game 1 looked like in Orlando. The Pistons started off slow. They had a big fourth quarter comeback, but it ultimately fell short. Orlando's been injured all season, but they have some experience. They have some good players. They match up well with Detroit. So they've definitely been giving them a fight. And the Pistons will need to wake up tonight to even the series if they want to have a chance to go advance to that second round.
What we really need, and I hate to put the pressure on him, is we need Cade Cunningham to be Cade Cunningham.
Definitely. He did not have his best game in game 3. He looked a little bit stronger in game 2. Turnovers have been a problem this whole series. They've done a really good job pressuring him. And Cade's teammates haven't really been stepping up in the ways they need to step up. Jalen Duren was an all-star this season, isn't even averaging 10 points in this series. He just looks like the Orlando team is just being too physical for him, for his style of play. And Duncan Robinson has been completely taken out of the series, the Pistons' best shooter. And they're going to need those guys to really, assert themselves more into the game offensively if Cade wants to have better numbers and if the team wants to have better results.
What else can you add to all of this, Nick, with your learned response and your time there right on the court with these guys?
The Pistons, I really think, just need a lot more. They're just lacking experience right now. It seems like in critical moments of these losses that they're just not, they don't have this sense of urgency that they really need. Last year, they put up really good fight against the New York Knicks, and that was more of an even matchup. And coming in, you expected the Pistons to handle the Orlando Magic, but it's kind of looked like the opposite. And the Orlando Magic is the 8th seed, and even though they've been injured this year, they're still the 8th seed. And so the Pistons really need to remember who they are defensively, who they are physically. And even though Orlando is a tough matchup and they've got some good players, they really just need to come together and remember that, they won 60 games in the regular season. And I think JB Bickerstaff, the head coach, really needs to drive that point. He did at halftime of game 2, and they went on a huge run in that third quarter. So I think that if he kind of gets on his guys a little bit more and continues to adjust and play with these rotations, I think that they'll have a good shot to win tonight.
Headline in the sports section below the fold of the Detroit News, the award-winning The Detroit News, Cody M. Davis, Pistons taking it one game at a time. So we look at April 19th, Orlando 112-101. April 22nd, Detroit 98-83. April 25th, Orlando 113-105. So tonight at 8 o'clock on NBC, The Pistons at Orlando. It's a make or break time. They need to get this game, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. Going down 3-1 in any series does not bode well for you, especially the way that they've started this series. They've really only had one quarter that they can hang their hat on that they really dominated, and that was the third quarter of game 2. So hopefully that they can play more of the same tonight.
You and I have not had a chance to talk since the NFL draft, which I did they get more people showing up than we had? Did they break the record? Do you know?
When they were counting the numbers the other day, it was under what Detroit had. I haven't checked back to make sure that they've either crossed that line or not, but they were pushing on the edge the other day.
Well, here's hoping they didn't make it. But be that as it may, the draft. How are people reacting to Brad Holmes' picks? How are you reacting?
I think I share a lot of, similar feelings with with Lions fans in that they're happy with the selections. They didn't really go out and make a home run swing. I didn't really think that was necessary coming in. And Brad Holmes, he's known for trading in these drafts, but didn't do too much movement compared to last season or years before. But you fill holes of need, right? You've got offensive linemen. You lose Taylor Decker. You replace him with the rookie Blake Miller from Clemson, who they've been scouting for 3 years. They love this guy, and he's not injury prone, as a lot of fans are happy to learn that. So he will be playing out there. And the Michigan edge rusher, Derek Moore, a fan favorite. Everybody in the state knows him. He was very impactful for the Wolverines during his career, was a big part of, a lot of good defensive teams for them. And those were the two positions of need for the Lions, offensive tackle and defensive end. And a lot of people, including myself, are very happy with those two selections.
Listen, anytime the Lions can pick kids from Michigan or Michigan State or any of our other fine Michigan-based colleges, I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the fan base. I think it's just smart. I'm glad they're finding players that make sense in the Derek Moore and Jimmy Rolder in this case. So it'll be fascinating to watch. Interesting, too, to see the way the various media outlets, I guess, graded the picks. USA Today gave them a B. In fact, most of ESPN, Yahoo Sports, most of everybody in the business gave these guys Bs for their picks, which is, not a bad thing.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate that they graded them where they graded them. The Lions, they're going to be dealing with some injuries in the secondary, so there's a bit of question marks what they're going to do there. You mentioned Jimmy Rolder will be coming in, kind of replacing Alex Anzalone, the Michigan linebacker. And then they've got a couple other depth pieces that they added to the wide receiver room and the defensive line. But I think it really just starts with those two, Blake Miller and Derek Moore. And I think both of those guys will come in and have an immediate impact, and they will play and, God forbid, stay healthy, which is what this team desperately needs. And I think that's what's most important. And so I'm giving those two picks just on its own pretty much an A-.
The Nick Lundberg with us, WJR digital sports reporter, a fine graduate of Michigan State University, proud graduate. What do you think happened with the Vanderbilt quarterback, Diego Pavia? I'm told he's the first Heisman finalist to go undrafted since 2014. Why didn't anyone pick him?
He's kind of make himself look out like a head case in the media. He doesn't have his own agent. He goes off on these rants on these different podcasts, and he hasn't put himself in a positive light during this draft season. So I think that is mainly the reason why he went undrafted.
Nikki, you just gave advice to a lot of people in your age bracket. I don't know. What are you considered?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. And that is, be aware of what you do online, because now anybody hiring anybody, they go online and check your social media. These people I don't think a lot of Gen Z understand that. Obviously, all these coaches and all these managers and all these people went online and followed. I guess you didn't have to work hard to do it, but followed some of the craziness of this guy, and nobody chose him because of it. There's a lesson there for all Gen Zs, and that is, be aware of what you put forth out there in your social media is going to be looked at by people in the future that may or may not want to hire you.
Definitely have to be careful, Paul. I've made sure to be careful myself.
I think you've done a tremendous job of protecting your brand, Nick Lundberg, and you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Nick Lundberg, WJR digital sports reporter extraordinaire, one of Michigan State's finest, and proudly so, as we continue in focus on WJR. I want you to spring into a pain-free life thanks to my friend Dr. Saul Kogan at the Nerve and Disc Institute and his non-surgical, non-invasive treatments for severe and chronic back, neck, and knee pain. Intra-disc neutrosis helps people with spinal stenosis, bulging and herniated discs, sciatica, pain, and degenerative disc disease. Avoid spine surgery. And Knee Restore RX helps those with osteoarthritis, meniscus tears, and muscle strains avoid knee replacement without shots, pills, or downtime. Here are the real words from a real patient, and I quote, "In 3 weeks, that pain in my lower back has gone away. Yes, gone. I have no intention of returning to those painkiller days. And the staff is so attentive and absolutely professional. If I had to start my back journey all over again, I would try this first, and so should you." End of quote. Mention WJR in April and get a consultation, exam, x-ray, or MRI review, and laser treatment for only $49 for your first visit. Let me say it again. You'll get a consultation, exam, x-ray, or MRI review, and laser treatment for only $49 for your first visit. It's the Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, Grand Blanc, and now Bad Axe. You will love Dr. Saul Kogan, and you will love Dr. Saul Kogan's team. They're the best. Call 586-416-DISC, 586-416-3472. That's 586-416-DISC, 586-416-3472. Dr. Saul Kogan and the Nerve and Disc Institute. There for you. Take advantage of this special April opportunity. We continue in focus with Paul W. at 1:31.
For many retirees, changes to interest rates could mean your lump sum options will reduce. Choosing between a lump sum and monthly pension options, like all retirement decisions, shouldn't be an emotional decision. It's a math problem. Most people and professionals are doing the wrong math. Hi, I'm Kirk Cassidy, lead instructor for the Retirement Education Foundation, a charitable program, and the co-host of the Retirement Education Hour, heard here Saturday, 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. A complete retirement plan should guide every major decision in order to maximize efficiency. If you want to retire early, spend more, and reduce your anxiety, join us for our near master's level 8-hour retirement education courses where we have taught tens of thousands of families with assets between $1 to $20 million. To register for a course or watch updated webinars, visit refedu.org. That's refedu.org. Classes are held at major universities in Michigan and Missouri. $29 tuition goes to charity. Courses are sponsored by the Retirement Education Foundation, a charitable program.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
When it comes to outdoor power equipment, you're never on your own. In fact, since 1945, Weingarts and Weingarts customers and communities have trusted the family for expert advice. That's why Weingarts stand behind Exmark Mowers. Exmark Mowers, built for professionals and trusted by homeowners who take pride in their lawn. Exmark is known for delivering exceptional cut quality and consistent results with powerful engines, advanced cutting technology, and legendary build quality. Exmark mowers give you a cleaner, more even cut every time. It's the kind of performance and reliability that helps you get more done and leaves your lawn looking its best after every mow. From equipment, parts, repairs, and at-home service, Weingarts is there every step of the way. Stop by their stores where the Weingarts experts help you choose the right Exmark zero-turn mower for your lawn. Or visit them online at Weingarts.com, Weingartz, Weingarts.com, during their anniversary event going on now. Expert solutions, honest value, easy ownership. That's the Weingarts way. I love that family. Philanthropic and so good at what they do for all of us. Weingarts.com. Stop by. Take advantage of their anniversary event going on right now. That's the Weingarts way. We continue in focus with Paul W. Jr.
Kick back with Lomas Brown and Anthony Bellino. Everything you need to stay in the game on Sports Wrap.
Did everyone overreact to Michigan's portal success?
I wouldn't say overreact. I think it was more just a sign of the times. What I don't think gets enough credit is how they evaluated the players and fit and built a team, not a roster.
Sports Wrap, 6 to 7 p.m. on 760 WJR. Thanks for listening to WJR and Focus. Here's Paul W. Smith.
As we continue, there are other news stories other than the obvious one at the White House Correspondents Association dinner Saturday. Haven't seen this slug going into court yet. It says, at least here on Fox and on CNN, they say suspect in court soon, but we don't have anything yet. What we do have is our friend and freelance journalist born in Israel, served in the Israeli military, has reported to us live from Israel and hopefully back home right now, Doron Levin.
Back home.
I got to tell you, Doron, we only have so much headspace and capacity. So when there are so many stories out there, we kind of sometimes forget about the other major stories that are ongoing, and this is one of them.
Paul, right now it's kind of an impasse in Iran, and we've been seeing for the last couple of days missiles flying in southern Lebanon as well, and the United States and Israel have been really working together to try to solve this problem, which is not just a problem for Israel, not just a problem for the United States, it's a problem for the world. The president has said he doesn't want another North Korea. He's been talking consistently about Iran for 20 years, and it's something that we have all followed for the last nearly 50 years since the takeover of our embassy in 1979 and the fall of the Shah. And finally, this has come to a head. I think the president is correct when he says, look, the can's been kicked down the road. We're not going to kick it any further down the road. And the Iranians love to negotiate and they love to delay, but I don't think that this will go on for too much longer. We saw this weekend that our two negotiators, Witkoff and Kushner, basically were told to stand down and not fly to Pakistan. And the president has said, look, they've got a telephone. If they want to use it, they can use it. We'll talk, but we're not going to chase them.
Well, and I think that was probably a very wise move. These are 16, 17, 18-hour flights that cost us, frankly, in the end, hundreds of millions of dollars to just go and be played by these morons. And so why should we keep doing that? There is a telephone. Use it. Instead, these guys are now loving that they are, and this is worrisome, frankly, they're leaning into choosing a relationship with Russia and or China and or North Korea to, again, put us in the bad spot. And that does worry me a little bit.
Well, I think we've got actually much more leverage than is obvious. We control the Straits of Hormuz. Without the Straits of Hormuz, not only is Iran unable to get revenue from any of its own oil, that it's also unable to ship oil to countries that need it badly, such as China. And this is going to just hurt more and more, and the leverage is going to get greater if we're patient. And we have to be patient, because in any negotiation, they always say that the patient one usually ends up being in a better spot, and we will be in a better spot if we're patient, because the government of Iran is really not in great shape right now, economically, physically, and it really needs to make a deal with the United States. And so we should just put on a brave face and do what we need to do, and wait until we get a better deal from them.
You do not appear to be as worried as I am about these love affairs now being shown and shared with Russia, China, North Korea, etc.
I think actually it works in some ways to the United States' advantage. First of all, Iran, don't forget, this is a country of 90 million people. Many of the intelligentsia, many of the people who can't stand the regime have already left. So it's a regime that really needs to change its mind about a lot of things. And if they can look out and prefer China or North Korea or Russia to the United States as an ally and as a friend, then this is something that they're going to learn the hard way is not going to be to their advantage, because this is a Shiite Islamic country. And if you go to a place like China, where the Uyghurs have been repressed, or you go to a place like Russia, where Islamic minorities have been repressed there, you'll find not too friendly a place, Paul W. So I think that they'd be very, very smart if they eventually understand that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, is really not their future.
Fascinatingly, the president told journalists Saturday that within 10 minutes of him canceling the Witkoff and Kushner trip, Iran sent a much better proposal. So he seems to be playing this all right.
Well, look, you could say a lot of things about Donald Trump, but I wouldn't really want to be negotiating against him.
Good point. Very good point. Both sides continue the military threats and the saber rattling, with Iran's Joint Military Command warning that, quote, if the U.S. continues its aggressive military actions, including naval blockades, it will face a strong response. And this president has basically said, okay, if that's what you'd like, understand that we will respond, and our response will be way better than anything you can do. So it'll be fascinating.
The U.S. has been very successful so far degrading Iranian military. They basically don't have an air defense system. We did take out their ability to enrich uranium. It's not completely over yet, but the real threat which was the creation of an atomic weapon and the ballistic missiles to deliver those weapons first to Israel, eventually to Europe, and then to the United States, has been so far degraded that we have to make sure now that it doesn't get started again, and they will try to start it again if we back off.
I think as soon as we gave them a 2-week reprieve, it started again. Sadly, that's just the way I think about these guys. Doron Levin, freelance journalist extraordinaire, born in Israel, served in the Israeli military, always an American, and always checking in with us. We appreciate it, Doron. Thanks much.
And I appreciate you. Thanks so much, Paul W.
We continue in focus on WJR at 142. Paul W. here, and let me tell you that throughout the course of our lives, we all have those people who we can count on. I sure hope you do. I do. We all do. People who would drop everything and rush to help us if we have a challenge to overcome. I think that's the textbook definition of dependability. Well, let me further expand on that, because for 87 years now, Michiganders have counted on Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan to stand behind us during life's biggest moments. babies being born, broken bones being repaired, times when we need care that improves the quality and length of life. Do you know that Blue Cross pays more than $100 million every day? Blue Cross pays more than $100 million every day for the care of millions of us, doing their work in partnership with doctors and hospitals, providing health insurance in every zip code in all 83 Michigan counties. Tricia Keith, president and CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and the entire Blue Cross team make sure we get the care we need wherever and whenever we need it, thanks to their nationwide network of 2 million participating care providers, standing behind us every day for 87 years. When you can rely on a company to be there for you again and again and again, that's dependability. That's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Learn more about their work at mibluedaily.com. MI is in Michigan, mibluedaily.com. And remember this too. Healthcare is personal. Healthcare should not be political. We continue in focus at WJR, approaching 1:45. Paul W. here for the Capitol Grill. Make this Mother's Day truly special this year. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., enjoy a 2-course chef-created classic brunch featuring indulgent choices like lobster frittata or a succulent center-cut filet mignon. Sip on a mimosa or Bloody Mary and start the day with freshly baked blueberry bread. Prefer something else? The Capitol Grill's full menu will be available from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., offering an array of mouth-watering options. Start with appetizers like the Jumbo Lump Crab Cocktail or indulge in a spectacular seafood tower. Follow that with hand-carved steaks, classic chops, an array of seafoods, including Capitol Grill's signature dishes. Whatever your choice, Mom is guaranteed an unforgettable dining experience with impeccable service. Mother's Day at the Capitol Grill. Call now while great seating is still available. Call 248-649-5300. 248-649-5300.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With smart business buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Join us for a thrilling night of action at the annual Fight Night event on April 29th. Don't miss out on the adrenaline-pumping experience at the Palazzo Grande. Experience the thrill of the ring at Thrilla Gives annual Fight Night event on April 29th. Tickets are flying off the shelves, so purchase yours today.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster.com. If you price custom blinds at a retail store, you know how expensive they can be. At Blindster, we do things differently. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big on custom blinds. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by NECA, IBEW Local 58. Count on the Powering Michigan team of IBEW 58 skilled electricians and NECA signatory contractors for your next commercial, industrial, public, or residential construction project. The best electricians, the best electrical contractors, period. Learn more at poweringmichigansfuture.com. We have a disabled vehicle on I-275 southbound at 8 Mile and some slow traffic on I-94 eastbound between State Street and US 23. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Partly cloudy skies today, high of 67. Rain showers for tonight will drop down to 59. Morning clouds for Tuesday, afternoon sun with a high of 64 for tomorrow. Right now it's sunny and 66 degrees. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
Always a pleasure to talk to our next guest. We've known him as a fabulous United States congressman, a Republican from the 10th District. We know him, too, as a gubernatorial candidate for the great state of Michigan. He is Congressman John James. Congressman, always a pleasure.
Hey, Paul, thanks for having me back on. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you here, and especially, sadly, at a time like this. And since you've had more experience handling guns and weaponry and protecting Americans, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on the attempted shooting at the big dinner over the weekend.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, and sadly, the most heartbreaking part about it, it seems like it's becoming more and more regular. I'm grateful that the president, first lady, the vice president, and all the officials are safe due to the swift action of the Secret Service and law enforcement. They prevented a senseless tragedy. And as people get out there and talk about the law enforcement officers and laud the Secret Service in particular, we should remember that there are certain folks who are refusing to fund DHS, which funds the Secret Service to its full amount. I've voted multiple times to fund DHS to include the Secret Service to keep our country safe, and I believe that all of my colleagues should. But we're even in this situation because we are in a culture now where it's okay to dehumanize and demonize our political opponents. We have to resist that. We have to appeal to our better angels and recognize, particularly on our 250th anniversary, that we are one nation under God, and we will only be indivisible if we recognize and remember that. So I'm going to be doing everything I can to lead by example, and I'm calling on my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do the same.
Good for you, Congressman John James. I'm going to use that myself. I'm going to use the fact that here we are to celebrate our 250th anniversary. Heck, even King Charles comes over to congratulate us, and he's congratulating us on breaking away from his family and from England 250 years ago. So if they can get over it and work things out, we need to get over it and work things out. We need to fully fund Homeland Security. We need to cut the rhetoric from the top on down. And you can't have some people saying they're not responsible, because they all are responsible, using a fiery rhetoric that sick people like this guy, they get it in their head, and then they think they're doing God's work or somebody's work to make the country better by killing people.
Well, that doesn't ever happen. You're absolutely right. I think that at this particular point in time, we all have a responsibility, each of us, particularly in the days and era of social media. We each have a responsibility. We need to use our thumbs and not our fingers. We need to look at what we are doing in our daily lives to make the situation around us better, to lead by example, and to not tolerate behavior out of other adults that we wouldn't tolerate out of our children. So this is part of the reason why I'm doing my best to keep a positive approach, talking about how the best is yet to come, how we are one team, one fight, and how we need change now to benefit us all, and talking about the great beauty and amazing people we have in the state of Michigan, rather than dwelling on the things that need to be fixed. Talk about how we have fixed these things before and we have greatness ahead as well.
Well put, my friend. Thank you for the work you've done, too. The House Appropriations Committee advancing a spending bill for military construction that includes $162 million intended for infrastructure upgrades at our Selfridge Air National Guard base in Macomb County to prepare for the arrival of 2 new aircraft platforms. I know you've got to feel very good about all of that.
Oh, I feel ecstatic about this, and I want to say thank you to my team in the district, headquartered in Warren, who work tirelessly for everyone in the district. I'm grateful for each and every single one of them who do a thankful job because they love you. I want to say thank you to the leadership that we're seeing in Matt Hall and the Republicans in the state house, who pushed $152 million, which was really critical to show partnership with our state. we're able to do that. Unfortunately, it's being held up by senates in the state legislature, and so hoping to work with those guys get that across the finish line, because this isn't a political thing. This is something for our national security. This is something for our economy. And as a result of this partnership, we're able to make good on President Trump's leadership, bringing an F-15X, a fighter mission, to Michigan. When we've lost 3 flight missions in the past 3 decades. President Trump said no more, and I was able, as a result of these things, to win $162 million back for Selfridge investment. This is a lifetime investment to make sure that Michigan continues to be at the forefront of national defense and the strengthening of our local economy.
Well, in your own words, we've got Congressman John James, Republican from the 10th District, now gubernatorial candidate John James. In your words, quote, "This is huge for Macomb County and for Michigan. Selfridge," and this is your district includes Selfridge, "Selfridge is critical for homeland security and protecting our northern border. It's also a major economic driver in southeastern Michigan, and getting this funding is necessary so that work can get underway." So it's good that you're looking at it from all sides, and we're benefiting from it from all sides, protecting our northern border. And as the major economic driver it is in Southeast Michigan. God bless you for that.
Yeah, it's not just the military asset. As you mentioned, this supports 5,000 military and civilian jobs, contribute $850 million to Michigan's economy. Protecting Selfridge not only protects the Michigan, the Great Lakes region in the United States of America, along the longest international border in the world, but it also protects Southeast Michigan and our economy. We have the potential to be so much greater. Ag is super important to Michigan. Auto is super important to Michigan. But we also have the ability, from a defense and aerospace standpoint, to strengthen our national economy and our national security. We have so many opportunities here in the state of Michigan. And with the right leadership and the right relationships, we're going to make sure that Michigan not only participates, but that we continue to lead the way.
You know, as excited as we are, and we are for the, I guess, 2028, the F-15X fighter mission and all those beautiful new planes that are coming our way. It was kind of exciting recently in some of the war activity we were in, seeing the good old A-10 Thunderbolt II, I think we called him the Warthog, that was here at our base, playing a pretty significant role.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We're so proud of those guys who continue to stand up and answer the call. I'm old enough to remember when the military talked about shelving the A-10s back before Desert Storm. And after their performance in Desert Storm, back when I was, goodness, I might have been around 6th, 7th, 8th grade back then. They were talking about it. These things have continued to perform decades after. It's time to improve. It is time to move into the future. The F-15X is the wave of the future, but that means that we have to also take care of those guys and girls who are out there defending our freedom, making our nation and keeping our allies safe on that airframe. This airframe shouldn't be called the Warthog. It should be called Old Faithful, because it has continued to defend America and our interests for decades and decades. But now Michigan is going to lead the way into the future with the F-15EX to make sure that we continue the 127th Wing legacy over a century of defending this nation with excellence and great execution.
Before we run out of time, it's coming. The campaign going well, sir?
The campaign's going well. We're still double digits ahead of our next closest primary opponent and the only Republican in the best position to beat both Democrats. So if you'd like to learn more about our freedom agenda, go to johnjamesmi.com. Again, more on the freedom agenda at johnjamesmi.com.
Thank you, Congressman. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you. And coming up, he'll be off tomorrow because he's going to be in Washington. Mr. Amani goes to what? I wanted to say Mr. Smith goes to Washington, but it's JR Afternoon with Ryan Armani. You filled out all your paperwork, all your credentials are okayed, and you're ready to go.
Prepare the royal baggage.
Oh, are you going to carry the baggage? Hey, have fun. We'll talk to you when you get back.
Thanks,
Can't
bud.
wait to hear all about it.
You got it.
Stand by for news, WJR.